Well, hi, I'm Ned Engelke with EVOTEK out of San Diego, California. I'm the CTO at EVOTEK, and I'm here joined by Dave
Yeah,
Gold.
Dave Gold. Yeah, I'm the field CTO here at SentinelOne for the Americas, based out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. So happy to be talking with you today, Ned.
Hey, thanks for spending some time with us today, Dave. I have a couple of questions about SentinelOne. And one of those that's really intriguing to me, Dave, is what do you feel is the role of the of sort of endpoint and general workload protection when you're thinking about the realities that our mutual customers face and trying to come up with really a cloud security strategy that's balanced between cost and efficacy and customer objectives. What does that all look like to you?
Yeah, it's cloud security in general is it's such like a an interesting term that I think is still very much being developed. I think I always joke, what led towards the digital transformation for most companies, was it the CTO, the CISO, the CEO, or COVID-19, right? And it's crazy that when everyone moved remote, everyone started moving to the cloud, and security was often kind of an afterthought, right? I think historically for the last decade, security has been the number one barrier to cloud adoption.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, part of the problem there is there's not like a really well established security architecture for like, how do I secure the cloud? Like, I think for traditional networks, we kind of know like we need firewalls, we need endpoint security, we need some sort of log collector or SIM. Like, you kind of like there's a well-known stack of technologies. We need a web gateway, we need an authentication, all that stuff. But for the cloud, it's like, oh, wait, none of that stuff will really work there, right? We don't control the network. These endpoints spin up and down all the time and are very dynamic. There's serverless, like there's all these different components. And so for a lot of organizations, when they think about cloud security, they've kind of taken this shift left approach, right? And shift left, I think, is great, right? You should definitely think about security as early as possible in your development pipelines, your development lifecycle, right? We need to think about vulnerabilities, we need to think about secure coding practices, we need to detect those vulnerabilities in our code before they go live, all that important stuff. But we believe in shift left, shield right, right? Because no matter how good you are at patching and writing code, like your systems, your cloud applications are still going to have vulnerabilities, right? Because it's written by humans and humans are imperfect. And, there's a lot of really smart people out there who are trying to break into those applications because, at the end of the day, there's a lot of really valuable data in the cloud. I think it's like, 60% of the world's data is in the cloud now. I've heard, in the neighborhood of 80% of companies have experienced a cloud security incident in the last year. And yeah, a lot of those incidents were due to customer error or misconfigurations or whatever. But we're seeing a huge increase in, ransomware and, Bitcoin miners and other attacks against cloud assets, right? At the end of the day, you can have the best, cloud security posture and configuration and patching program on the planet, but those systems are still vulnerable to attack. And so that's where, cloud workload security and, CWPP comes in, solutions like SentinelOne, where we're actually running in, real time runtime protection, for those systems to actually detect those threats and prevent those threats.
About
Right.
this. This is my single favorite topic for what's happening in our customer environments today. This sort of proliferation of requirements and all of the tooling that's emerging to attempt to address some or all of them. And it leads me to wonder, what you think about when you think about complementary approaches between what SentinelOne offers and some of the other third party things that are available.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important for any modern product, especially a cloud built one. I mean, we're, built in the cloud too. We're a huge consumer of cloud for our backend, right? We're probably one of, the biggest cloud customers out there, right? With the amount of data and compute and Kubernetes and stuff that we consume. But what we constantly hear from customers is they want their tools to work together, right? It's crazy to me how I've worked at companies in the past, I won't name names, right, where they're like, if you just buy everything from us, the world will be great, which is not true, even if you did, own everything from one major vendor. But customers just want their tools to work together, right? The average enterprise without the cloud has 40 to 50 different tools. And now you add cloud into the mix, are we now looking at 60, 70, 80 different tools? I mean, it's crazy, right? And
Yeah.
with the move to the cloud, the amount of data that we're generating is growing exponentially too. I mean, just, when we look at an endpoint, if you look at a classic workstation, one Kubernetes node can generate 70x the amount of data, right? And so you think about now all these different tools, all these systems that are, proliferating out, we really need these tools to work together in an integrated way. Important. An example here at SentinelOne is we announced a partnership with Wiz, who's one of the leaders in the CSPM space, and they saw us as really one of the leaders in the CWPP space, and so we announced a partnership with them. That said, and it's an exclusive partnership, right? We're going to build really tight integrations with them because we know they have the best CSPM and we have the best CWPP, and so let's have those tools work together for our joint customers and partners, right? And so, we built a tight integration where if you're in the SentinelOne console, you have all that visibility into what Wiz provides. If you're in Wiz, we feed in all of our threats into their, graph database to be able to show that as additional information. And then whatever, user is using the tool, whether it's DevOps or security or whatever, they're going to have that understanding and that visibility across two different vendors and two different tools that, you may consider us slight competitors, right? We're both in the cloud security space, but once again, we see that they do things we don't, and they do things that we don't, and our customers benefit from that partnership. But if you look at our strategy, in our direction as a company, right, we started as a next generation antivirus or EPP, right? We pioneered the behavioral based approaches to detecting threats on the endpoint, and we've proven that that was a much more effective way to find threats because the attackers, whether they change their code every day, there's still common behaviors that have to go on for any attack to happen, especially for things like ransomware. But we've really evolved, rapidly, in the last few years, and I think we continue to be a very innovative company. But we now, have identity security products now too. We have, our cloud security, and these are huge areas of investment for us. And our data platform, right? I mean, we are really becoming a data company here at SentinelOne. And really, I think we've touched on it a lot today. Security is a data problem, right? I mean, we've talked about that through a lot of the things we've discussed today. And so how can we allow organizations to collect more data and extract more value out of that data in a way that can overcome the fact that we have a shortage of 3 million skilled workers in cybersecurity? I think that's the latest number, right? And so how do we empower the current generation, which nobody has enough people? How do we enable the next generation to be able to come on board and really allow our customers to be able to benefit from their solutions working together, whether those are from a vendor like SentinelOne or multiple vendors that have open platforms that work together. So